Hello and welcome to another episode of Health Matters. I am Dr. Michael Chillemi, your go-to expert in understanding the science behind mind, body, and the mind-body connection and holistic health practices. Today, we're embarking on a ultimate deep dive into chronic stress, a condition that billions of people around the world every single day experience without without even fully understanding its impact on their lives. Whether you're grinding throughout the day with work deadlines, juggling family responsibilities, or feeling overwhelmed with the financial burden of of finances, stress, we all face something. But what happens when the stress doesn't go away is what we're going to focus in on this episode. So on this episode, we're going to focus on what is chronic stress and why is it different than regular stress? How does chronic stress physically affect your body and brain? How many people are truly affected by this hidden epidemic? And most importantly, how can we manage it effectively with both conservative and non-conservative treatments? By the end of this, you're going to walk away with a comprehensive understanding of chronic stress, its ripple effect on your health, and the actionable tools to reclaim your well-being. Let's get started. I'm going to even throw in a story at the end. So, story time at the end to come. Okay, first, let's get into it. What is chronic stress? So, the definition of chronic stress is itself as a natural physiological response to danger or demand, often referred to as the fight or flight response. But here's the big but. Chronic stress occurs when the stressors become persistent, keeping your body in a perpetual state of heightened alertness. The key difference between acute and chronic stress is this. Acute stress is short term, like if you're in school and you have to give a speech, or you're at work and you have a meeting you have to have a deadline for, or you respond to a sudden loud noise. That's acute stress. Chronic stress, on the other hand, is long term, stemming from consistent exposures to things like work related pressures, financial struggles, ongoing health issues, relationship challenges, so on and so forth. All those type of things are what make it chronic and long term. So chronic stress, the actual definition is it's the prolonged activation of the response system when the stress hormones like cortisol or adrenaline remain elevated for extended periods of time, causing impairments into your physical and mental well-being. So the question is, how many people actually have this? According to the American Psychological Association, nearly 77% of people regularly experience physical symptoms caused by stress. Around 43% of adults suffer from stress-induced mental health challenges like anxiety or mood disorders. Chronic stress is one of the leading contributors to serious health conditions, from cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disease. I know it sounds crazy, right? You're saying, Doc, how could that possibly be? How can my stress, right? I have stress from, let's say, you have a financial problem. How can that cause problems with my heart or my immune system? Stay tuned. I'm going to get into it, and it really, really does. You don't think about it, but it does. And I'm going to show you exactly how. Globally, the World Health Organization estimates 1 in 5 people will deal with consistent, unrelenting stress that qualifies as chronic in nature. 1 in 5, that's a very large number. So, in order to understand the chronic stress, as I always do, we're going to get into the anatomy a little bit. The anatomy of stress, right? The science behind the stress. To understand chronic stress, we have to understand how it works. So let's break it down. The brain, central command system. When potential stress is detected, the amygdala, which is the part of your brain that's responsible for emotional processing. And what it does, it activates your hypothalamus. The hypothalamus, acting as the brain's control center, communicates with the nervous system to initiate the stress response. Then the HPA axis, or the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. I know a lot of big words coming. The hypothalamus signals the pituitary gland to release ACTH, adrenal corticotropic hormone, which then triggers the adrenal glands to release stress hormones, primary cortisol and adrenaline. Whew, that was a lot. But so basically, what I just said for just that part is your brain gets a detection, it sends signals, other parts of your brain communicate to the signals, and they start triggering your adrenal glands to release stress hormones. That's kind of the simple version of that. Then we got to talk about the autonomic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is stimulated in the flight or fight mode, increasing your heart rate, diverting blood flow from your muscles, and shutting down non-essential systems like digestion to your brain. So the pretty crazy part is that what I just said is when you're in fight or flight response, your body will shut down the blood flow to certain areas. Basically, it'll say, "Hey, we don't need any blood flow for digestion right now. We got a problem. We need to fix it." They're sending blood to your brain to get your brain stimulating and get everything functioning and moving quickly. Chronic stress keeps the central nervous system in overdrive, while the parasympathetic nervous system, the PNS, struggles to counterbalance it, leading to physical burnout. So what that's telling you is your body's always going, 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 and your parasympathetic system is trying to say, "Hey, calm down, calm down, calm down." And that up and down and the constant being on the up makes you burn out. And the last one about the anatomy that we're going to talk about is cortisol. I left it last because it's the biggest one. We're actually going to do a full episode on cortisol. That's how much information I have on it. So I'm going to do that, but we'll have the shortened version here. Cortisol, which is called the primary stress hormone. It's literally known as the stress hormone. It's produced by the adrenal glands and plays a critical role in your body's ability to handle stress and stress responses. It is the key component to regulate your body's reaction to stress. While cortisol is essential for managing acute stress and managing critical body functions, chronic overproduction of cortisol can lead to long-term health issues. What is the role of cortisol in the body? So here we go. It's a big role. We got it. Cortisol prepares the body to handle stress by shifting energy to critical systems while temporarily slowing down non-essential systems. So that's pretty crazy if you think about it. So you can think of your body as a computer, right? And you're doing a lot of work. Your computer might say, "Hey, we don't need this program, that program, or that program. We're in production mode. We need A, B, and C." And your body will do the exact same thing. How crazy is that? Your body's the computer that you didn't know you had. Aha. Okay. So the first role of cortisol is it's going to regulate some of your blood sugar. Cortisol increases glucose for the production of energy to ensure that the brain and muscles can handle the stress. Next, it's going to control your blood pressure. Cortisol maintains blood vessel tone and works alongside your adrenals for efficient oxygen and nutrient delivery. Energy regulation. It shifts your energy from your non-essential processes like the digestion or immunity to critical survival tactic function. Next, inflammation response. Cortisol can reduce swelling and inflammation during acute stresses, but may harm immunity while elevating it chronically. Cognition. Cortisol promotes alertness and improved decision making during short-term stresses. Under normal conditions, cortisol levels remain in a rhythm-like pattern where you have peaks in the morning and decreasing throughout the day, supporting your healthy energy and sleep patterns. So, sounds pretty good. What's the problem? If you have a lot of it, what's the problem? So, here's the problem. The dangers of chronic cortisol overproduction leads to disrupting nearly every system in the body. So if you have chronic overproduction, you can affect your blood sugar dysregulation, heart strain, immune suppression, digestive issue, cognitive decline, muscle and bone loss, sleep disruption. Every single thing cortisol will affect. Cortisol is way more important than you probably even thought. How about that? So, what's the impact on the body system? So, chronic stress, when we talk about it, right? You have chronic stress. Well, how is it going to affect your body? Chronic stress nearly affects every single body system. And we're going to break down all the ones that we just said. So, the cardiovascular system is the first one. So, how does that work? Why does chronic stress do that? So, when you have elevated cortisol levels, and that's going to cause your adrenaline to increase your heart rate. You're going to start pumping more blood faster. And then what that's going to do is when you increase your heart rate, your blood pressure is going to rise. What is that going to do? Put strain on your heart and blood vessels, right? Long term, this can significantly increase the risk of hypertension, stroke, or heart disease, right? Constant pressure of those vessels can lead to bigger and bigger problems. Digestion, we mentioned it several times. Why? How? Okay. So when stress slows down digestion by diverting energy to the muscles and brain, it leads to issues like irritable bowel syndrome, GERD, chronic inflammation of the gut. Your body slows down, everything else gets tight, everything else gets bound up. Becomes a big problem. The nervous system. Chronic stress overstimulates the central nervous system, leading to anxiety, depression, cognitive problems like memory loss, and a reduced ability to focus. The musculoskeletal system. Stress causes muscles to stiffen, especially in the neck and shoulders and back, contributing to chronic tension and conditions like tension headaches, myofascial pain syndrome, muscle spasms, muscle knots. Immune system suppression. All right. Constant cortisol surges impair the immune systems, making individuals more susceptible to infections and even autoimmune conditions. So when your body's in that fight or flight and you're shutting down the immune responses, that's how you can get sick. Last one on my list that we're going to talk about is endocrine and reproductive health. Chronic stress disrupts your hormonal balance, potentially leading to conditions like infertility, irregular menstruation, or even, ready, reduced libido. No one wants that. We got to fix that. Okay. So, what are the causes of chronic stress? The causes of chronic stress usually stem from situations that are challenging to resolve, including personal stresses. So, what are personal stresses? They could be prolonged financial difficulties, caregiving responsibilities, major life transformations, or toxic relationships. Workplace stresses could be like high workload jobs, job instability, lack of support at work, or incredibly long working hours. Lastly, chronic illness, persistent health conditions that limit physical or mental functioning can cause chronic stress. What are some of the risk factors? So the risk factors to increase those are you have a poor ability to cope with them, right? You have lack of social support. You might have a pre-existing condition of anxiety or depression, or maybe unresolved childhood trauma or early life events, right? Big events that happened early on when you were younger. So here's the next segment, segment 4. We're going to talk about is how do you manage the chronic stress? So conservative treatment for managing chronic stress. So I'm biased. Yes, I am biased to chiropractic, so chiropractic is first on the list for me. So chiropractic care, how does it help? Chronic stress often leads to tension in the spine and your muscles and joints. Chiropractors focus on spinal adjustments to reduce the mechanical stress and improve the nervous system's function. By realigning the spine, what we do is we reduce muscle tension caused by chronic stress. We regulate the automatic nervous system by restoring balance between the fight or flight and reset your PNS system. Next, conservative treatment, physical therapy. Stress frequently leads to, again, the musculoskeletal problems. So, if you're having chronic back pain, sciatica, or neck pain, when we utilize physical therapy, stretching and strengthening exercises to loosen up the tight muscles, improve your posture, reduce tension from those stress muscles. Neuromuscular re-education, focusing on retraining your body to move efficiently, improving resilience to stress. Relaxation techniques. Some therapists often use guided breathing exercises or gentle stimulation of a TENS machine or electrotherapy machine. Next, conservative treatment. It's going to be mind-body techniques. Yoga, Tai Chi are all excellent ways to reduce tension and enhancing your parasympathetic activities. When you pair all of them together, that is a winning combo for help reducing your stress. And one of the other big ones that I typically use, it's one of my, obviously, getting adjusted. That's number one for me. But the other one that I use a lot is exercise. I have a regimented exercise activity. I use that time for me to get out my stresses, get out my whatever my frustrations are. It's my time to de-stress, right? And for me personally, it's been a cornerstone for me to deal with life stresses. That's for me personally. So I would suggest that for you as well. And that does two things: hopefully keeps you in some decent shape, and it gets the stress out. So the stress doesn't build up, doesn't get those vessels all in your heart all clogged up. So do the best you can to keep your heart pumping and moving and keeping that stress down as much as you can for that. Okay, so now we talked about conservative. Now, non-conservative treatments could be counseling, right? Therapy, whether you have a therapist or you have a cognitive behavioral therapists. Medication. Some doctors may prescribe anti-anxiety medications or beta blockers to help temporarily relieve symptoms. Life modifications with that. Dietary supplements. Stress can also deplete essential nutrients like vitamin B, magnesium, omega-3. So supplementals are important. I want to give you a story I have on somebody I know. It's a real life story of, we're going to call this person Sarah, and we're going to say Sarah's journey to recovery. So Sarah is a 34-year-old marketing manager who was known for her hard work and ambition throughout her whole life. She always appeared successful. The combination of tight deadlines and financial responsibilities and self-imposed expectations silently overwhelmed her. She couldn't unwind after work, and thoughts of unfinished tasks consumed her every single night. As soon as she went to bed, all she thought about was what she didn't do, leaving her when she woke up exhausted and vulnerable to chronic stress. So the impact of chronic stress for her was over 2 years. Stress took a toll. Exhaustion, insomnia. She struggled to sleep, right? She relied on caffeine to push through the day. She had constant muscle pain and headaches, tension in her shoulders, and her upper back became constant. Digestive problems. She was always bloated. She had heartburn from unnoticed symptoms of stress. Irritability. She was cranky, snapping at her loved ones, leading to having emotional problems with them. Sarah assumed everything was temporary. until she started to experience panic attacks during a meeting. She was rushed to a hospital. She learned that she suffered from physical effects of chronic stress and anxiety. So, what did she do? She took some steps to recover. She had she was determined to change. Sarah began addressing her health with the following situations. She had therapy. She did cognitive behavioral therapy, which helped Sarah identify and challenge harmful patterns that she had tied to her. She always felt like I had to be perfect and the fear of failure. So she was able to overcome that. Chiropractic, she had regular adjustments. She got rid of some of that muscle tension, those muscle knots. She improved her posture, easing the chronic stress. She put boundaries on herself at work where she committed to unplugging after certain hours, reducing her workload and prioritizing her self care. Stress relieving practices. She did daily meditations for 15 minutes a day. She did a 10-minute calming walk and she journaled to help unwind and regain clarity. Sleep and nutrition. Sarah practiced better sleep hygiene. She got at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day. She replaced her caffeine and processed foods with calming teas and healthy meals. The transformation was within 1 year, Sarah noticed profound changes in her panic attacks. They stopped. Body pains diminished. Digestion improved. Better sleep. She reconnected better with her loved ones. And she basically prioritized, she put priorities on her health. Sarah reshaped her stressful life into one of balance and well-being. So the takeaways from this story shows the importance of addressing chronic stress early. If you're experiencing similar symptoms, you can manage stress by seeking a professional, setting boundaries, building healthy routines, just like Sarah. You have the ability to reshape your life and take control of your well-being. Managing stress is finding that right balance between doing everything you need to do and the things you can't do and setting the time limits for that. Whether it's seeking chiropractic care, exercising, therapy, mindful exercises, all of those different things are critical. Chronic stress doesn't have to define your life. With the right tools and knowledge and support, you can take control and prioritize your wellness. If you found this helpful, if anything I said resonated with you, please give us a thumbs up, give us a like, tell a friend, tell a loved one, tell somebody who might be going through some chronic stress, maybe somebody you've seen at work or at home. Pass this along. It's not that long. I'm relatively funny in it sometimes. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm funny to me, so long as you make yourself laugh. And that's another good thing. Laughter is important. I did leave it out. I should have put a little blurb on it, but laughter is important. When you laugh and you're able to let go a little bit, that itself is important for you to get over that next step and get off that chronic stress, right? Even if it's for a few minutes, they have comedy now everywhere. You could have it on your phone, from podcasts to on Sirius and on YouTube. It's everywhere. Spend 5 minutes, laugh a little. That laughter will actually bring down your cortisol level. It's crazy. It does. It really, really does. Try it. Okay. If anything I said helped you, please pass it along. The information I've given you today is my opinion and my opinion alone. Please do not take anything I say as medical advice or medical opinions. If you have a problem, please seek out professional help to address those problems. What I always say is you are important. Your health is important because at the end of the day, Your health matters. Till next time, I'm Dr. Chillemi. Be well, be safe, be healthy.